Sip this.
Hey y'all, so the Impact ATL Season 2, Episode 5, Everybody Knows You Fake, came out today, so let's get into the recap. So the episode starts off with Ari and her sisters Bird and Kiana going out to lunch. At lunch, they talk about plans for Remedy Cosmetics and Remedy Swim. And Kiana's like, can I ask you something? And Ari's like, I already know what this is about to be about. So Kiana's like, how do you feel about having to sit down with our father, or should I say dad? Then Ari's like, sperm donor. In her confessional, she says they have no relationship and she has no communication with him. She has daddy issues. Kiana asks Ari, if he was in front of you right now, what you gonna say? And Ari's like, him. And Kiana's like, no, we're trying to navigate to the next level, honey. Ari says she wants to tell him how she feels. She's not expecting nothing, really. She's not expecting to walk out crying on his shoulder saying, thank you, Dad. In her confessional, she says she thinks Kiana is going so hard about this conversation because it's something Kiana wants to do herself, but she's scared and she feels like it's easier to help Ari do it instead. Ari says she has to build the courage to have this conversation. She has a lot of what ifs running through her mind. Like, what if she leaves out of the conversation more disappointed than she already was? She's like, she's not calling him. And Bird's like, well, you can't wait for him to call. And then they all join and be like, because baby, he ain't going to call you. And I thought that was so funny. So Kiana calls him, but he doesn't answer. So she leaves a voicemail. She just lets him know, like, they would like to talk to him and ask him questions about, like, his side of the story, about why he wasn't there. And Ari's like, I'm nervous. Like, she got knots in her stomach. She wants to do it, but she's scared. I think it'll be a good idea. I hope it goes well. In the next scene, we see Tuson. He's filming for the podcast he has with Dolly. The podcast is called Rare Smoke and Big Conversations. And it's named after his hookah pen brand, Rare Smoke. And they're having big conversations. So their first guests are Des and her friend Tay. And they show us a clip of Tuson asking Des to do the podcast. And she says she will be honored. In her confessional, Des says she's a little nervous because Tuson is unpredictable, so she doesn't know what to expect him to ask. Of course, they didn't show us everything because the podcast is going to be posted, I assume, soon, since the episode is out now. In the clips that they did show us, they talked about Des getting into fashion, both of their rap careers, and they played This or That. Once the podcast is over, Dolly and Tay step out and Des and Tuson just chat a little. He asks Des if she's going to the slumber party. Des like she can't make it. She's going out of town. So Tuson's like, girl, let me catch you up on this mess that happened at the shoot because I know you was doing your own thing. Then he gonna call to Karlae. He's like, Miss Purple walks in the room looking like Skinny Barney. And I'm just like, Tuson, why you gotta call that lady Miss Purple and Skinny Barney? Okay. Des cracking up, and he tells Des about when they was at the club, and she was like, oh, do you want to get in the studio? And he's like, oh, can I have your number? She's like, oh, just DM me. He's like, oh, she's shady. Just the same stuff we've been hearing the last 3 episodes, for real. And then he's like, I seen her another time. And then she wanted to take pictures and exchange numbers. And that's just like, yeah, I can understand that's weird. And in Des's confessional, she says the animosity between Tuson and Karlae doesn't surprise me with Karlae. And she says that she knows Tuson isn't problematic. The thing with this confessional is you can literally tell that they clipped what she said. When she says the animosity between Tuson and Karlae, they show her. And then after that, you can literally hear like the little clips being clipped. Like, I don't know. And I know they do that with reality shows and just TV in general, but I felt like that was a real shady clip because I feel like Des ain't even say nothing messy for real. And they just wanted to clip it to make it sound messy. I don't know. I'm going to put the little clip in too. No, I'm not. Never mind. I thought about it because they ain't about to get me. I ain't going to put the clip in. But if you watch the scene with Tuson and Des, you'll see the confessional and you'll literally hear the clip. I don't know. I thought that was messy. That's just my little 2 cents about that. Next, we see Tay and his mom. He and his mom go see an astrologist, and at the session, the astrologist tells Tay that he's going to have 3 or 4 months of domestic challenges and he isn't going to be satisfied. He's going to find some issues finding and keeping a place, which is interesting because he's talking about moving. And Tay says this is crazy because he didn't even mention to the man that he's moving. So after the session, him and his mom talk about the masterclass he has coming up for hair. He said doing stuff like that keeps him motivated. He also mentions that Karlae was at the promo shoot, and he says that he has missed her throughout the years because they were super close, like brother and sister. His mom's like, y'all need to have a conversation because it was too much he say, she say, and messy people, and it was just a disagreement. It wasn't that serious. So hopefully we see him and Karlae sit down soon. Next, we see Lakia. Now, Lakia's in LA. She's there to perform. After her show, we see her meet up with her PR guy, Austin. And in her confessional, she talks about wanting her new single, Want 'em Hood, to be bigger than Mind Your Business. And that's something she's been stressing about. Her and Austin talk about figuring out a strategy for Want 'em Hood. And she tells him that she wants to move her people out of Milwaukee. She says she has to succeed for her family and her partner, and she wants to be like the Kardashians, and she want to be Kim. She mentions again that she's in a generation with 50 other female rappers. And Austin's like, there's only one Lakia, and that's right. Girl, don't worry about nobody else but Lakia. And she tells him she's hosting a slumber party so everybody can get to know each other better. Then we see Ari, Tuson, and Kiana. Now, Ari is working out and she's making content with her trainer. And Tuson and Kiana, they asses is not working out. They are playing. While she working out, Tuson eating a chicken sandwich. Then he gonna pull out banana pudding, talking about this is pre-workout. So then Ari takes a break and they all sit down and talk. Kiana's like, Dad called back. And, no, she said daddy. But I love the way they say it. It's like they accent. They be like, Didi. But anyways, he called back and he said, yeah, they could rap. Meaning like they can meet up and talk. Ari says when she found out that he agreed to meet up, her stomach dropped and she got nervous. Like, damn, we really about to do this. But she also says in her confessional she's ready to hear his side. And she's never looked at it from his perspective or what he was going through. So whatever she figures out, it could change her perspective on him. Tuson talking about, we need to go to Granny house. And Kiana like, you ain't about to come to my Granny house acting a fool. She'll put you out. And he gonna say, I just want some potato salad. Then they get to talking about Lakia's slumber party. Ari's like, well, what type of party is it? He's like, oh, it's like a game night with PJs or whatever. Ari's like, okay. She's like, I'll go if I get my hair done. So then in her confessional, she texted Tay to do her hair for Lakia party. He said he was busy and she gotta find somebody else. Now I think this is like the beginning of where things start getting weird with Tay and Ari, because if you remember in the trailer they was arguing and Ari was like, you're mad at me because I got my hair done by somebody else, and then Tay's like, that's not it or something. So that's what I think this is like the beginning of that situation starting to get weird. Next, they get to talking about the Karlae situation again. And Tuson's like, he didn't like that they let Karlae talk about him at the shoot. And Ari's like, well, she had a valid point. And he starts talking over her. She's like, I'm talking. When I'm talking, don't do that. And when I tell you, I shut up and I wasn't even talking. I said, oop. Tuson starts talking about the situation again and how he was just having fun and he wasn't going to let nothing stop the fun. And Ari says they both wrong and the situation is dumb. And Ari's like, she's cool and you don't have no reason not to be cool. And Tuson's like, if she cool, then I'm cool on her with her ostrich bag. And then they start joking about her walking away with the ostrich bag. And in their confessional together, Ari's like, so moving forward, if you feel like somebody's acting phony, you don't get in their car and you don't drive their car, okay? Next, we see Tay with his sisters and cousins and his mom, and he's telling them how he's going to get a place in New York. And when he says that, everybody's just silent. So he's like, but I'm going to keep this place in Atlanta, and I'm just going to get another place in New York. And his sister's like, that's too much. And then Tay's like, well, the amount of money I spend in hotels might as well. And he's like, it's not like I'm permanently going there. I'm just going to have 2 places. And his mom's like, yeah, I think you should have a place here and a place there so you can make sure that's really the move you want to make. His cousin's like, who you going to New York for? And he's like, nobody. I'm just going there. Like, I like New York. Then his mom's like, well, you ain't going to be able to just call me and be like, Mom, my nose is running. And Tay's like, it's just a flight away. A quick flight. His mom's like, I don't really like New York. Them big old rats. Tay like, I'm going to be in a high rise. She like, they can still get up there. Then his mom's like, I think you should wait until you got everything done that you need to do here. Like, your clothing line and all that. And he's like, he gets kind of defensive, and he's like, what does the location have to do with anything? I could do that from anywhere. I think his mom just don't want him to leave. She don't want her baby to leave. But in his confessional, he says when he moved to Atlanta, he was scared and he was leaving everybody behind. But literally within 3 months, everything was booming. Now he wants to conquer New York. I think he'll be good. He feels like he's outgrown ATL. He did everything he needed to do. Now it's time for something new. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now let's get into the slumber party. Everybody gets to the slumber party. Ari arrives. Karlae arrives. The vibes are good. Tuson even gives Karlae a hug. And I'm so confused. Because ain't she phony and fake? He like, hey, Bookie. So I'm like, okay, Tuson. In his confessional, he says he's not tripping about her. They cool. They not friends, but they cool, and it ain't no hard feelings. He said he just there to smoke a little hookah and have a good time. I know that's right. And Karlae's in her confessional like, I can't believe Tuson crazy self came over and gave me a hug because we have a secret beef. She says she just came to have fun and wants no drama with him. But of course, there will be drama. So everybody's turning up, having fun, and then all of a sudden they want to play this buzz card game. And of course, Ari, the one that's like, oh, y'all just need to stop. It's not that serious. Is dumb. Going to pull the card and actually read this. She didn't even say, oh, let me pick another card. Nope. She read the card that said, take a drink if you secretly have beef with somebody here. And it probably was like production or something, but still. And you know that gets them started. Karlae is like, she's taking a drink because her and Tuson never see eye to eye. Tuson's like, it's no beef though. I'm gonna say this, liquor and card games and beef and people who got problems don't go together at all. Liquor in the equation is never a good idea when it comes to stuff like this. Especially if you're trying to have a good time with no arguments. So Karlae's like, you be talking about me. And Tuson's like, I don't talk about you. First of all, this seems like some middle school, high school bull. Because you be talking about me. No, I don't be talking about you. Are you serious? Then Tuson's like, I'm not arguing with you. Then Karlae ate here. I'm not going to lie. She's like, I'm not arguing with you. Just sit down and be quiet. You're fake as F-U-C-K. Then Tuson goes, let's just cut the bull. You weren't messing with me for real until you knew you was going to be around in the circle. That's fake. Karlae says, you talk about me to my friends. Tuson starts swinging his arm and he's just saying, deflect, deflect, deflect. Ari's in her confessional. She's like, this is literally so dumb. Ari's like, let's just stop talking about it. Karlae's like, but Ari, I've told you 4 instances where he's been fake to me, but he's never named a reason. Oh my gosh. So then Ari's like, let's go talk about this outside. So she leaves them outside. They go outside. Ari's like, y'all need to calm down. Sit down. Karlae is yelling. She says to Karlae, every time somebody says something to you, you're literally screaming. Listen. So she's like, whatever it is between you two. Then Tuson interrupts her. He's like, it's nothing. Then she's like, y'all keep saying it's nothing, but then y'all keep going back and forth. So she's like, she basically tells them to apologize to each other because it's not that serious and it's really stupid. So they just sitting there looking at her. It's literally silence. So then Tuson's like, but I ain't do nothing wrong. So, and she's just like, you know what? Bye. Y'all have a good night. After Ari leaves, they both stand up and Tuson's like, but we can hug it out though, boo. And he gives Karlae a hug. Then Karlae's like, you want to hug it out, but you should say you're sorry for talking about me. Tuson's like, I'm not sorry. I didn't talk about you. Then Karlae's like, you called me phony 2 times. They sound like little kids. he says to her, I apologize for you being so real. And then Karlae says, I apologize for you being so effing fake. She's like, you're fake as F, and I've never been phony, but you've been talking about me to everybody. And that's when she pokes him in the nose. And he's like, Jerica, stop. Don't do that. And he's like tapping the back of her ponytail. Then we see Ari and Tuson in the confessional, and she pokes him in his nose. So Karlae and her friends leave. In her confessional, she says she don't really care to rekindle or get cool with Tuson. He's someone dedicated to the chaos. She says this year her record label got indicted. People are switching up on her, and she's still not giving up, and she's going even harder. Now, I will say this. We haven't seen nothing from Karlae's life for real. We just know she dated Young Thug, YSL in jail. She got music and she got friends, but we don't know nothing about this lady for real. Like, and I'm pretty sure they filmed more stuff than her just arguing with people, but they're literally not putting it in the show, which makes zero sense to me. They really are making her the villain. Like, that's what is given to me, because like whenever we see her, she talking about the beef she got with other people with a dash and sprinkle of YSL in her rap music or her swimsuit. It's like, we don't know her for real. We not learning nothing either. Tuson feels disrespected by her touching his nose. And in his confessional, he says if the roles were reversed and he was the one who poked her in the nose, being a man, it will be World War III. He feels like she's trying to little boy him. If it was anybody else, they would have knocked her out, and he's just done with her, for real. Now, in the upcoming episode, we see Karlae's working on music in the studio. We see Tuson and his dad on the phone talking about his music. Then we see Ari sit down with her dad, and I really hope they just edited this or like clipped it for like the little cute little trailer thing, and he didn't actually answer that question with yeah, because she asked him, you think you paying child support was okay enough for being a dad? And it was like he said yeah, so maybe hopefully it was just clipped. But yeah, I'm excited for the next episode. I really want to see how this sit down goes with Ari and her dad. I hope this is the last time we hear about a Karlae and a Tuson drama. I would like to see more about Karlae's life. I would like to see Tay and Karlae actually sit down and have a conversation. I like to also see Lakia, like with her family, like the dynamic between them, because she talks about them but we don't see them, so that would be cool to see. Make sure y'all like, comment, and let me know what y'all thought about the episode, and subscribe.